Hello and welcome to the first Everywhen Devlog. I've got a feature that I'm going to be looking into today. So I'm working on this tags feature. I'll give you a little demo in a second, but there's this one particular thing that I think shouldn't be too tricky to do, which is this one. This showing tags as pills in the entry text and then having that as a link. So what I've been working on is having this thing where you can say hashtag something and you're going to be tracking this something. So if I wanted to do, say, whenever I went for a run, I'd say this morning I went for a hashtag run. And now if I open up the sidebar and I go into this hashtags tab, we can see that I've got a new tag here called run. And when I click on this, at the moment it just shows a sort of empty strand page. So if I create another one, it'll actually show a chart. So if I use it again, another hashtag run, and then I go back to this page, then suddenly we've got a little heat map because there's enough data for it to show a chart. But this on its own is not like super usable. We need some more features to do with these tags to make them a bit more interesting. One of those features is going to be to sort of highlight them in text here. So turning it into a button that you can click and it'll take you to that same page under the strands tab here, the run, which is the same page as what you get to by clicking here. So, okay, so I've got my development environment here. And we're going to be looking at this entry component. So everyone uses SvelteKit, so this is a Svelte front-end component here. And what we're going to be doing is adding something to, if I can find it here, something to do with this. So we have something similar at the moment, which is this decrypt images function. Because what we do when we upload an image is actually just put in markdown into the entry body here, and then when we try to render it like this, we actually look for the markdown and we replace it with the image content. So we actually do an API request and then we replace the actual text with the base 64 encoding of the image that we've decrypted. And our feature is going to be something very similar to this. So we're going to be we're going to be searching using a regex for instances of tags, so hashtag something. And then we are going to be replacing that with a link. So just putting in like an A tag around that text. So let's see, where is this being called from? Okay, so we're just calling it here. So this is saying, using an effect. So this is rerunning every single time either encryption key or the entry HTML decrypted is changed. So there's going to be a bit of a problem here, which is that if we add another one, something like this, if we just duplicate all of this logic and then we say, add tag links, then we're going to be we're going to end up with sort of an infinite loop because we're changing the entry HTML decrypted. Oh right, yeah, that's true actually. I'm not sure why it doesn't already make an infinite loop. I guess it's because the second time that we run it, we don't get any matches. That must be the reason. In which case, right, yeah. So we're replacing this API/assets and we're changing the source into this data source ID. So we're just extracting the ID out of it. Yeah, okay. That's interesting. That's not a particularly good code structure right there. So I think if we added this function inside here instead, it might be a bit better. So what's going to happen now? So firstly, we're going to be changing all of the images. We're going to replace all those images with the loading, with the data image ID instead in the text. And then we're going to be wanting to do something with the tags. And of course, this is going to cause the entire function to rerun immediately. And this is also going to cause the function to rerun. So I think as long as we are changing each of the tags oh no. So the difference here is that when we replace the images are being replaced with something which no longer matches the regex that we're looking for in the entry body. But here, they're not. It's still going to have the hashtag tag string. So we need to do something a bit different here. Otherwise, we're going to end up with an infinite loop. So really, we need a sort of pipeline of getting a unmodified entry HTML decrypted and turning it into this modified version. And of course, we can always then go later and replace it with the actual image content asynchronously, like we're still currently doing. But we sort of need to be doing this part of it synchronously and just once, exactly once. So let's think about how we can do that. This entry HTML decrypted is just a so it's basically this. We're decrypting the entry body and then we're converting it from Markdown to HTML. Okay, so we could theoretically just stick it inside this raw MD to HTML function, because that's doing something very similar to what we are doing at the moment, where we are replacing like maybe a title. So, in this case it would be hashtag and then a space and then something. And we're replacing that with a DOM element, so our code is going to be very, very similar to this. So why don't we get hold of a new function, going to call it convert convert raw entry body to like maybe modified entry body text, and this is going to be sort of functional, so we're just going to take a string and return of state inside this function. And so we then want to wrap this here like so. At the moment, let's just return text and we can see what we get out of that. Okay, so as a little test here, let's just try replacing something arbitrary with something else arbitrary. So replace a, or replace hello with world. Let's try that. So if I write an entry that's just hello, then we get world. Perfect. And if I write a new one that is not hello or world, then it stays as world, which is good. And in here we see it's still hello for this entry, which corresponds, this one here. So that looks pretty good. I think, I guess we'll maybe leave this one as is. just to focus on this one new feature, and then we can do some cleanup a bit later. So we're looking for something that matches a regex that looks like just a hashtag something. So let's go to regex explorer, explainer, I can't remember. Regex online, regex 101, that was it. This is the one that I like to use. And we're going to try out something to match maybe A to Z, 1 to 9, is that right? Actually, matches a single character in the range 1 and 9, yeah, perfect, okay. So there's a problem, just the mass, oh I see, okay, yeah. So let's write our entry, okay. And then let's take a plus there, so matching the whole lot. And we also want to include underscores and dashes, and yeah, so I don't quite remember exactly what the tags match, but we can find out. If I go under controllers and entry, I think there is something to do with tags here, get tag, and we can see that we are allowing these characters as well. Oh yeah, and emojis and dashes. So we'll take these ones. Oh yeah, actually we can just use this exact regex even, can't we? This is exactly what we want. So it's hashtag and then a match group of this. Perfect. And we'll do something similar to this. So we'll say const matches equals text dot match all even. Our regex. And this uses a GM here, and I've got a GU here. Let's see, GM versus GU regex. M stands for multi-line matching. Interesting. So I don't think we want multi-line matching. Maybe I'll try just changing that to just a G then. Property escape sequences are not supported in this project dialect. Oh, I see, okay. Maybe the U allows emojis then. Okay. So now we can simply do something like this. So now we actually we need to make sure that we are doing a capture group around the whole thing rather than just the tag ID. Oh dear, is not going to like that. Oh no, it's alright with it. Okay, so instead of ID it's going to be tag. Don't care about this, and now we're going to just replace the entire tag with some HTML. And at the moment, yeah, let's just try this, and then let's just go for href equals slash journal slash tags slash tag, something like that. Okay. Oh dear. So I think the problem is that I'm not returning anything from this function, obviously. So let's see, instead of this, let's just do text.replace and then return text. That should be a bit better now. Let's see how that looks. All right, perfect. And it looks like, yeah, we get a link here. Perfect. That's very nice. Okay. So the moment we can see here in the console, because SvelteKit does this fancy preloading of pages, we're trying to load this link, journal/tag/#run, and we haven't created this page yet, so we're getting a 404 error. But that's all right, we can do that later. So first up, let's just style this a little bit. We're not going to be able to use, so most of the code base here uses Tailwind. The problem is going to be that I don't think it's going to work with Tailwind here because it's compiled. So we'll just add some styles and that'll be alright. Just some vanilla CSS inline styles. So let's go for some padding 0.5 REM, which is Tailwind P2. And then background color, we want our variable, I'm going to go for V light, very light accent. And then we'll go for some rounding, so we want border radius 4 pixels maybe to start with. Let's see how this looks. Alright, nice. So it looks like there's a bit too much padding there, so we can just quickly fix that. We'll say something quite small maybe, so maybe 2 pixels, 4 pixels. Yeah, that's better. And maybe a little bit more rounding, so actually let's go for lots of rounding. Let's go for fully rounded. Yeah, that looks quite good. Huh. So I'm not entirely sure why, but it looks like the text is a little bit sort of off-center there. So maybe if we try adding actually I know that there's one class that will be available is flex center, as that's a utility that I've made myself. So we should just be able to do that, and then width fit. Nope, that's Tailwind. Fit content. Let's just format these styles a bit better. And finally, maybe display inline. I think that was an issue as well there. Yeah, okay. I think that looks pretty good. Let's just maybe slightly increase this, 1 pixel on each side, and see how that looks. Perfect. So let's try doing this inside a multi-line entry. So if we have some long text here, I'll just copy and paste this a bunch. And then somewhere in here, let's add a something tag. Yeah, so it's not overlapping with the lines above and below, which is good. We're not getting too much of anything going wrong here. What about when I do a full stop? Because a full stop is not part of the tag ID. It should be ignored. And we get the tag, something, and run correctly appearing here. Perfect. So the next step is going to be, of course, to create this page, which is currently returning a 404. And all I want to do for this page is to redirect the user to the correct tag page. So if it's going to be journal tags tag, I'll just redirect to this page, which is datasets / and then the ID of the linked dataset to the tag. So let's just firstly make a little commit. Journal, and we'll say convert tags in entries to links. or let's say render tags in entries as links to the tag dataset. And all we've changed here is we've added this new part of the rendering pipeline for decrypting and rendering the entry body. And then we've created the function to match on the regex, and then replace each of the tags with something with the link. So something that I've just noticed is that because we are replacing only the first instance of each tag, what happens if we have the same tag multiple times? So let's just try that quickly. We have hashtag something, hashtag. Okay, so now we're getting an issue. So let's try console logging our text to see what's being outputted here exactly in as HTML. So let's find this something and then something. Let's move myself down there. Okay, here we go. So we're getting an A with a href. Ah, of course. So there's an issue here, which is that when we do the second replacement, it is actually matching on the URL and replacing the inside of the URL with some more HTML. So I think one solution for this is going to be to exclude the hashtag again from the match group and just make sure to add the hashtag in here, because now we are converting it to something that's not going to get matched again, because there's no, so that it is still going to match it inside the tag. So we may end up with just one tag appearing. Oh no, we still end up with something going horribly wrong here. So we have hashtag and then the correct tag, but then inside the href, it still looks like we are we're replacing something inside the URL, inside the href with this. Oh, of course. So now instead of matching on just the tag, we need to match on hashtag tag, and that should fix it if I do that. Let's see what happens here. Perfect. Okay, so we're getting an issue still. It's a little bit better. We can see that we get an empty tag, which is redirecting to the correct URL, but is not wrapping the second one in a tag. Ah, okay, so this is the problem that I think I was foreseeing, which is that we're replacing the hashtag something inside the tag body again and double wrapping the tag. Let's just confirm that. Yeah, we can see here we're replacing something inside an A tag with another A tag, which is not going to work. So perhaps what we can do is replace all here. And the reason that I think this is going to work, actually let's just first up do a little bit of magic here. So the reason this is going to work is because it's going to replace all of the hashtag tags, and then we only want to do that once for each tag. So if we get a duplicate tag, instead of doing it once and then again, we're just going to do it all at the same time. The only problem now is that we're going to do it all at the same time, and then we're going to try and do it all at the same time again, and we're going to end up with double issues, I think. We're going to end up, we get these double tags both times, which is not ideal. But we can easily fix this by using a set. So we're going to say const unique matches, and we're going to first create our set. But of course this is going to create a set of objects, which is not really going to work. So we need to map these to the match one. Perfect, just like Copilot was recommending. And then instead of doing that, we're going to use unique matches, and this is going to be hopefully a list of strings. Yeah, here we go. So then that should be tag there. Perfect, so let's try that. Nice, so now we've fixed the duplication issue. Let's just make another quick net fix issue with rendering tags and entries when same tag occurs multiple times. Perfect. So now all that's left to do is create this new redirect page. So we're going to start fresh, and we're going to look under roots, under app, under journal, and now create a new directory called tags, I think it was I created. Tags, yeah. And then a new page. Oh, actually, we'll create a new slug under here. So this is going to be called tag ID. Just like this, entry ID. And then let's just check how I'm getting that ID from here. So I think it's just on the parameters object. So let's copy and paste this, or this whole file even, really. And then we will take this thing, and then we do some query to get dataset ID, and then we want to just redirect to we'll say const, or dataset ID equals something #ID / dataset ID. Okay, perfect. What is going wrong here? Expect 2 arguments. Right, so in the status, so I think we'll just return, I think 302 is the permanent status address. Let's try that. HTTP 302 status code. My bad. So 301. Definitively moved. Yeah, that sounds correct. 301. So now we just need to try to find this dataset ID from tag ID, from the tag name. So I think something should already exist, and if it doesn't already exist, we should create it. So that's going to be under entry controller. So what have we got to do with tags already? That's not what we're looking for. No. This is pretty close. So this is getting all the tags from tags and entries. So yeah, I don't think it already exists. So let's just export an async function get dataset ID from tag name. We're using tag name and ID a bit interchangeably here, which we probably shouldn't be doing, but they are, because the tag ID is a separate concept, so maybe I should change that to tag name at some point. So let's see, user ID and tag name is a string. I want to return a promise of, and let's just make it string or null. So in the case that the tag doesn't already exist, there's no data set, we'll just return null here. Let's do await query. And our query is going to be returning an object, and we want dataset ID of type string. So we'll say select ID, or actually let's just turn this into just returning an ID. We'll select ID from datasets where, and so we need the user ID first, and we want it's not going to be a tag ID, it's going to be the preset data field is going to be equal to this, and we also want only preset IDs equal to dataset presets.tags.id, the static constant of this. So I think this is just going to work. I won't bother explaining this query too much, it'll take quite a while. But this should just get back the IDs of the data sets that are matching this tag name. One, return null, otherwise return res0.id. Perfect. And then we can use this here as entry dot, you just need all dot ID, and then the params dot tag ID just there. And then to import entry, we'll just do this one. Perfect. So there is an additional step here that's required, which is that because in this query this is encrypted data, we need to make sure to encrypt that before sending it to the server. So when we are modifying this here, this in this link here, we should have this be encrypted. So it should just be or actually, how do we do it here? Yeah, try encrypt text with encryption key. Okay. Is this a real error? No, it's not a real error. Is it? What's going on here? Alright. Let's see if that works now. Let's just remove this console log. Okay, so we don't get a 404 error, which is good. Let's just click on something and we get 400. We are putting a promise into there. Oh, that's interesting. So clearly we just need to await that. And also we need to do a little bit of error handling here. So if dataset ID is equal to null, then we need to give an error of 404. Invalid tag, or let's just say tag not found even. So now we head on back to our journal. Let's log in. And we click on something. Oh dear, we get a 500 error. So error is not defined. Yeah, that might be an issue. Need to import that. We're also getting another issue, which is that the hashtag in there is being interpreted as a hash. It's not being interpreted as part of the parameter string. So we just need to encode URI component tag is being encoded correctly. This hashtag, by the way, is a sort of signal that the rest of the string is encrypted, so that optionally you could have a different signal here and then know that this text is plain text, it's not encrypted text. But it's a bit irrelevant because the solution I came up with for making encryption optional still actually encrypts all your data. So everything uses the same little signal there. At some point I'll do a migration to remove it because it's superfluous now. Let's try clicking on something. Perfect, look at that. We're being redirected to the something tag page. Let's check it for tag and for run. Excellent. So this looks like this feature is complete. So we're showing tags as pills, we're linking it to journal/tag/tag ID, which redirects to the dataset for that tag. This is this item complete. So next we need to show the numerical usage of that tag. So I want to be able to see this is the first time that I went for a run, and then this is the second time that I went for a run, the first and second time that I used a something tag. And ideally I want to see this sort of on hover, so I don't need to click on anything or do something like that. That's going to be a little bit more complicated because I need to be sending some data over with some metadata with each entry, I think. That's going to be how I do it, but we can figure that out later. So thank you for watching. Making progress with everyone all the time. I'm very excited with this project still. Tags is a feature that's been in the works for a very long time now. It's the reason actually that I created this whole strands feature, which is still in beta. And I had big ideas for it, but I think I probably won't be fully expanding on those ideas. I think this is about the extent of what I want tags to be. I think other features will be doing what I wanted that to do. So yeah, thank you for watching.